In the middle of a historic dislike brigade happening to Snow White, organically we believe, the live-action trailer was suddenly freed from anyone being able to see just how bad it is. Over 500,000 dislikes pouring in, when suddenly, all across YouTube, nobody could see the dislikes anymore. And folks, we were there, and we have the live recording of it happening as it happened. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are so overjoyed to have time to spend with you. Thank you for inviting us into your day. We are watching something that is very interesting and may portend that the dislike button and the ability to see it could be going away forever on YouTube, or at least dramatically altered. We've got the video of what was happening when suddenly all of the dislikes all across YouTube were no longer visible. It lasted for about 5 minutes. It may be a test run. So it could be something we watch rolled out all over YouTube in the days to come. Do we know that for sure? Not quite yet, but if it happens, how much will Disney, Snow White, and Rachel Zegler be blamed for changing the game of YouTube forevermore? We'll explain right now. What do we have here, Jonas? What do we got? What is this?
It seems that the Disney company, and I want to say thank you to our friend Payne for pointing this out. The Disney company has finally removed the dislike button on the Snow White trailer. This was caught live on Mr. H Reviews. By the way, our friend Culture Casino is over there. As you can see, it got to 534,000 dislikes to only 23,000 likes on 5 million total views before Disney finally said, you know what? We're losing this battle. Let's just turn off the like button, the dislike button altogether. They finally figured out how YouTube works. And they're running with...
Well, now, wait a minute. Hold on. Jonas, you said that they figured out how YouTube works. YouTube doesn't work that way for us. I don't have the ability to turn off the dislikes on my videos, do I?
Yes, you do.
Do I?
I'm pretty sure you do.
Do we have the ability to switch that once it's up?
I'm fairly certain you do. Yes.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked that way is you're telling me that after what happened with the last trailer, that Disney voluntarily put this out there and tossed this to the wolves to get the dislikes and get the narrative going. It's too late. Like, this now is this is how dumb it is to now remove the dislike. So you put it out there and you voluntarily allowed the story to happen, and then you squelched it after the story happened, which will now amplify the story with the Streisand effect. Yes.
This is the kind of thing that I don't understand why Disney does things the way that they do. And it's apparent to me that they really do not understand their audience. But I think going forward, they're probably just going to turn off the like button, the dislike button altogether. Usually it displays as disabled by owner. But in this case, on my screen, it just shows it as a down button instead of listing the number.
Okay, so then, Jonas, we're covering this as it happens. Let me look up then. And by the way, I'll show this. This is the last number that I had. Okay, so if we go to what I've got, the last number I had was 528,000 dislikes. Now, you had 530 plus is what it hit.
Yeah, 534K.
Here's what I need you to do, Jonas. Folks, apologies. We're working fast on this. Jonas, can you go look up the Lilo and Stitch trailer and see if they've removed the dislikes there?
All right.
Folks, Jonas is going to go check that. But this is how, this reeks of panic, because this company put this out there, having seen the prior trailer, and the idea that they thought, and this is amazing, if they actually thought, we'll switch the color palette, and then we'll get all these likes, and the dislikes will go away. If that's what they thought, that's insane. Jonas, bring up the Lilo and Stitch, please.
It appears that they've disabled it for the entire channel. Okay. Either that or the...
That's what I was wondering.
or the return dislike extension has failed working for every version.
All right, I'm going to hit the refresh on mine, which means I lose it. Actually, I'm going to take a screenshot before we do that.
Please
Let me
do.
take my screenshot so that I've got it. Okay, boom. All right, I'm going to refresh. And wait a minute, Jonas. I can still see it.
Okay.
Let me go back to mine. 535,000 dislikes is what I have. I can still see it. Let me go to Lilo and Stitch.
You might be using a different extension than me.
I could be. So are they trying to get around the extension then?
It could be that YouTube has changed the way that this functions all of a sudden.
Right.
But it's very strange that all of a sudden in the middle of all of this, there it is, the Lilo and Stitch official teaser. I don't want to start asking you the official names of all of the extensions here that allow you to do this, or then they'll be defeated by Disney. But,
well, I've outsmarted them. Okay, so but we at least think, all right, Jonas, then what I need you to do on your system is go look up and see, while we've got this up there, go look up something that's non-Disney. See if the dislikes are still showing under your extension. And we probably need to let the folks over on some of our collegial channels.
Sorry, let me make sure that I have one here that I can put on screen.
So everybody in our chat is saying that the dislikes now show 0. So I still have an extension that's working. There's no guarantee that it will continue to work. They may find a way to stop the extension I have. Ha ha, Disney. You tried to stop old Pro, did you? Yeah, well, All right, so what do you got, Jonas? I see you're sharing. Feel free to pull it up on the screen.
Well, no, and I don't want to get this person in trouble, but he does have a very funny channel here. Pitch Meeting has the dislikes disappearing. So I don't think that he is going through the same shenanigans that Disney is. So it sounds like this particular extension, which is one of the more popular extensions that does this, has been disabled.
And it's being disabled just coincidentally at the same time that Snow White is being buried with dislikes and could cost Disney hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's very true. It's a funny thing watching a company like this with this much power and these many connections who spend these many ad dollars on a platform like YouTube, all of a sudden things go in their favor. Well, except for their content.
Oh, Jonas.
Oh, my. Look
Mine
at that.
just got removed.
There you go.
They just removed my extension too. Isn't that fascinating? That is impressive that we caught that literally as it happens.
Well, I have to say thank you to Knee Pain and, of course, to our friends on other channels.
Literally as it happened, we have seen it.
Yep.
And guess what, folks? Lilo and Stitch, same thing.
All right.
Literally happened while we were covering it exactly.
What a wonderful company this is.
Well, here's the thing too. I can't say, okay, let's look at this as objectively as we can from a business standpoint, Jonas. Let's say that you are YouTube and you've tried to get these dislikes less visibility. And you've got this big company, Disney, that is being buried and it's going to cost them hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. What do you think YouTube is thinking about how the dislike button should function and what's financially in their interest? Like, how do you think they're seeing this?
I think when they decided to remove it, that was because of bullying brigades of some kind. And I think that what they did is they removed access to it rather than changing the code on all of these videos. So they didn't lose the function entirely. They probably just removed access to the function so that they didn't change anything in the YouTube code itself. I'm not a programmer. I took Visual C back in college. Like I'm not a web dev guy. And the web dev guys are saying Visual C is not a web language. So yeah, I get you there. I think this is the kind of thing where YouTube did a stopgap metric and they needed to say to advertisers and to the people who were releasing content on their platforms that they were doing something about this. But I would bet in a situation like this that someone from Disney was talking about how much money they spend on this platform and how much money they spend on ads and how much traffic is driven to this platform. I bet there was also a conversation about the fact that Snow White did not premiere this trailer on YouTube. Instead, several days, maybe a week beforehand, this went to theaters only, making everybody go to YouTube, search for this trailer, and then leave empty-handed. So I think that there have probably been some active discussions with YouTube about whether or not their trailers are going to end up on the platform at this point. I think this is probably not a conversation that started today. I don't think Bob Iger or whoever is in charge of communications at the Walt Disney Company just got on the phone and said, turn them off right now. I think that there has been a weeks-long discussion, if not a months-long discussion, about the dislike situation here between Walt Disney Company trailers and, of course, probably companies like Amazon, with Rings of Power getting ratioed into oblivion.
Well, I think one of the things that's fascinating that we need to make note of is that because of the nature of how we covered this, where we were live and Mr. H, the H-Cast was live, and we got word from them and from Knee Pain that this was happening, and then you found out that, oh, well, it's been removed on mine as well, but I still had access. It seems like that this was rolled out, like that there was, there was an effort to make sure that each type of way to find out how many dislikes there are, like that, it was a rolled out closure of that. Now, the other thing, Jonas, is that it's interesting to me, like, what is the point in even having the dislike button? I don't know what the function is anymore.
Right. Well, the dislike button counts as whether or not you understand this as viewers. The dislike button counts the same as the like button because it counts as engagement on the YouTube side of things. So if you say hit the like button, hit the dislike button, it doesn't matter as far as YouTube goes.
Which is why I'm switching my future videos now to say heavy dosage pixie dusters, cupcakers, and Disney shills. You all have booger brains. You need every show that way, every single one, just to get the thumbs down.
As long as it's a Lilo and Stitch themed booger scented canned cupcake or something like that.
Banana burger.
You got one of the better Stitch impressions out there. I just have to say, everyone thinks they can do Stitch, but there you go. So I think that this is something that has been a long time coming, and for some reason these extensions, they're in the Chrome store anyways. I'm sure there's some kind of and Chrome, of course, is currently owned by Google, which owns YouTube. If that antitrust case doesn't go through and separates them all out into separate companies. And Knee Pain, who is a much more tech-savvy person than I would ever dream of being, says, not seeing any news release about this YouTube change.
Well, fascinating. It's also looking like this was, I don't think they wanted to draw attention to it, but we're happy to do so. And we listen, we're here on YouTube. This is the platform in which we exist. We appreciate the opportunity to speak out to so many people. And we want the best for YouTube because when YouTube does well, we do well. And I think that it's best for YouTube if people can give their votes of confidence or their votes of dislike with a trailer, with a video, with anything. And I like transparency. So you know where I'm going to stand on this. I'll be interested to see if there are workarounds, if people try to get around this, and, we'll see. I'm not advocating. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying this is happening. We don't have official word yet. It is fascinating that it happens as Snow White is crashing, and we'll continue to cover it, folks. We'll let you know what we know when we know it.
All right. You want to read some super chats?
Let's read some super chats.
All right. Amish Warlord for $1.99 says Josh Tomorrow needs to be shovel ready. I would argue that he's pretty proficient with the shovel.
Yep.
Changer of Ways for $5. Warcraft 2 was my first strategy game. I waited for Warcraft 4 for so long, but got Total War, Warhammer 1 through 3 instead, and I'm much happier with it.
And when you got it, I hope that as you walked out the retail store, or if you download it, I hope when it finished downloading, you said, "Job's done."
I want to go play some Warcraft 2 after we're done. Packing
Okay.
protons for $10. A bit behind with the view. Notice 2 people clapped. The new common sense guy. Think the security people identified those 2 people and put them on a no re-entry list.
Probably. How dare you bring common sense and centrist positions into the studio? How dare you?
There's a Megyn Kelly on Bill Maher clip going around of her having to calm down an audience member. You never quite hear what they say, though. Albertus Magnus for $4.99. Bob the Buyer is the worst businessman in America. How much longer can this go on? When will shareholders act to save the company? From Iger.
Well, I think, we cannot give financial advice, but if Epic Universe puts a significant dent into Disney World, then I think, although it will be too late, because it'll take years to catch up, I think that investors will have a freak out then.
Jim Jam for $4.99. Is the cost of hiding the dislikes factored into the marketing budget? I think that the marketing budget is probably the flag that Disney is waving at YouTube in order to get that thing gone.
Listen, we're a little bit in the fog of war right now. So for all we know, the dislikes will pop right back up again in 5 minutes, but probably not. And if YouTube did this and it just happened to go out today without any connections with Disney, Disney needs to call them and say, please put them back up until this is over. Like, you can get rid of them in 2 weeks. This is going to make us look terrible. Please.
They would deny that there was ever a problem. That's the whole thing. They're headline chasers, and a massively disliked video that's a headline they don't want. Tennille 89 for $5. The stupidity is thinking that removing the dislike will make people more favorable to the films themselves. Well, there's a certain concept of people waking up. By the way, thank you for your 10th super chat, Tennille 89. I think there's a shelf cracker here when it comes to Disney. I think there's enough things that well, this one's a little cheesy. Well, this one is it's obviously forced diversity in this one, but I'll tolerate it. I think there are things like Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, and the Muppet Babies episode with Gonzo.
Hold on, Jonas. We've got something. It's back again.
You guess who's back?
Back again. This is why I say, we are cautious because of the fog of war situation where you just don't quite know, and it's best to wait and see what's going on. Like, we're not going to jump all over YouTube, and it's easy to have a knee-jerk reaction, be like, YouTube, how dare you do this? But, and Jonas, you'll need to verify, you'll need to look on your...
It's working on mine as well. It's the same number too.
Folks, we've saved the dislike button. All of you out there super chatting and sharing with us, we've done it. We've saved them. I feel like Michael Scott when they find out that the office branch is not being closed. We've done it. We've done it. Folks, we've saved the dislike.
You're the one who's out of this world. Sweet baby, you're the one who's out of this world.
As a volunteer sheriff, I can look up anyone's psychiatric records or surgical histories.
Oh, Joe Miller, you just found the marble in the oatmeal. You're a lucky little boy, because you know why? You get to drink from the fire hose!
Now the question is, were they intending to close it out and they rolled it out too early? I mean, there's so much to wonder about now. Like, how did everybody on planet Earth suddenly lose the dislike button in a rolling motion? And is it going to go away later today? Like, there's so much to wonder about now. Hey, Jonas?
I like this one. Sparky Schultz, Jonas and Pro broke YouTube.
I think we fixed it. I think, you know what Disney is saying right now to YouTube about dislikes?
Now, the minute it looks like there's gonna be trouble, we got to nip it! Nip it in the bud!
Oh, man.
Boy. All right. Tom, for €2, campaign to get Rachel on Rogan. Step up, Miss Z.
Pressure campaign begins.
Aurora uplinks for $5. TNG Soprano crossover should bring up a really good video that is 4 minutes long. If you want to watch it, I think Captain America 4 will be pretty good. If we weren't already rolling over people that we are redirecting to, I think we might risk it, but I'm going to talk to Pro after the fact. Also, we generally don't do fresh clips we've never seen unless it's from somebody who's purportedly doing G-rated stuff.
Valiant stuff is always completely safe every time.
Of course. Oh, well, you're talking to the guy who has to edit his clips.
I guest hosted for Valiant one time, and I played a clip that I thought was safe, and it was filled with things that I was like, well, shouldn't have played that, should we, folks?
Hawaii Dragon Star for $5. YouTube had done quite to cater to Disney. Wasn't the initial hiding during Little Mermaid?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
It's looks like a virus of toxic positivity. Yep, that's their audience right now, the toxically positive.
Well said, and good reminder, Hawaii Dragon Star. And don't forget that Rotten Tomatoes was altered in order to protect After Last Jedi and Captain Marvel.
That's true. By the way, the top critic score now diverges on Moana 2, so it's back to having 2 different scores. Tom for €5.
Gotta be
Imagine a likable young actress as Snow White. She could promote the movie to Rogan's large dad audience. Disney needs to adapt to new media. You know, there's a lot of people that are just wanting something clean that's not preaching at them. And if the movie doesn't have preaching in it, which I think it will for communism, this young woman is out there trying to hit every stick on the ugly tree on the way down. Oh, geopolitical conflicts. Oh, the election. Oh, this over here. She's really, it is almost like it is an anti-PR campaign. If she had $4 million, Disney should be suing her for it.
Jonas, let me make a guess. I'm going to guess, because I don't think that everybody's dislike functions ceased all at once, all across the planet for every single video, unless that option was being tested out for a future rollout.
I think you're probably right.
It's going to be my guess. I don't know it to be true, but it's my guess.
Yep. Aurora Uplinks for $5. Thank you very much for your generosity today, Aurora Uplinks. I honestly think Snow White will be a surprise hit among women and will resonate with an older audience on an unexpected level, maybe for all ages too. That would be something. It is a Greta Gerwig movie, so who knows?
There you go.
Tennille89 for $5, and thank you for your 10th super chat. Whenever Zegler speaks, the PR equivalent of the Black Death falls out of her noise hole. Nobody to blame but herself. Agreed.
The old noise hole.
Yep. Okay, Pro. We are out of super chats, and we are well past the time.
We are. We do have one Patreon chat that I need to read real quick. This is from TSV Sega. It says, Pro, did you ever find out if the alternate cut of Secrets of Dumbledore shown in China was released on physical media outside of the United States? I do not have an answer on that, but Tom tends to be the guy that we go to for the variations internationally of physical media. I'll check with Tom. We'll see what he's got. Jonas, you know anything about that?
It would be a 12-second difference if they do. There's one scene and there's one line. I bet in China they just changed the dialogue. It would be an easy change over there for them.
There you go. Folks, we're going to check it one more time before we go. We're refreshing. And dislikes are still there.
And higher.
Well, let's just say after what happened, you can expect until they finish it off for good, if that's what they're going to do, this is going to explode because this will now be attached to this trailer. That's just what I'm saying. Folks, thank you for joining us today. We always enjoy bringing you the breaking news as fast as we possibly can. Today is one of those quick turnover times. And folks, we only ask that in response, you click the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the pesky notification bell. And drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.